Welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Irene. In this episode, I'm gonna share you with one of my teachers, John, when I was learning IELTS examination from him. At first, I thought he was only teaching English as his career in Taiwan. However, after some chatting moments during break time in cram school, I found that, wow, he's more than that. He's fascinated with sword fighting called historical European martial arts, which is his hobby and startup business as well. I admire him so much, and I can't wait to learn more about him. So, let's begin the interview.
Yeah, I have lived in Taiwan since I was 31 years old, and I've lived here for 17 years.
What was your background or reason of choosing to come to Taiwan at first?
Good question. Well, I was previously working as a librarian in a private girls' school in Australia, and at the time we had a lot of international students, and as many of them would come into the library to do their English homework, I started helping some of them with their English homework, and I got to know some of them quite well. And then I realized, hey, I enjoyed teaching English. It was very satisfying, and I wanted to do it more. So I joined a local government program helping to teach English to new immigrants. I enjoyed that a lot as well. But then I realized I thought I wasn't very good at teaching English, actually, because I knew a lot about English. I had studied the grammar a lot, but I still didn't think I was very good at teaching English to somebody else as a new language. I just didn't have that experience before. Also, I thought if I'm going to be speaking to immigrants, I should be speaking their language. So I thought I want two things. I want to learn Chinese, which could be a very useful language in Australia, and learn how to teach English in a place where I don't know the local language. Then I would be able to understand better how are they learning English over there and what are their needs. And as a migrant myself, I would be able to understand it better, and I would be able to share more of the experiences. I had a few Taiwanese friends, and they told me about Taiwan. They said it's a pretty good place to go. It's pretty easygoing and casual, and it's fairly small, so you don't get lost. You don't feel too overwhelmed. I thought that sounds like a good idea. So I decided to go to Taiwan. And my wife and I went to Taiwan. We decided we would stay for a year and see what happened. And that was 17 years ago. That's right. So it turned out pretty well, and I've enjoyed it a lot ever since.
How was your career at first when you come to Taiwan? Is it smooth? I heard that there were some hard times.
Yeah, especially when my wife and I came here early on. We didn't have a lot of money. It was quite difficult. And there were some difficult times in those early years when I didn't have a lot of skills. So, of course, I wasn't very qualified to earn a lot of money. And I was only being given a few classes because when you're new, of course, nobody wants to give you a lot of classes because you might be a trash teacher. I was lucky that I had a couple of staff teachers, more experienced teachers at the place where I worked. One was a very, very good local Taiwanese guy who gave me a lot of really good instruction. He was very generous, and he was my teaching assistant, and he would save me a lot in class and get me out of trouble. And I had another couple of friends I made, good foreign teachers, who taught me a lot as well. So I was doing pretty well, but there were some times when, we were running out of money fast, and a couple of times when we had very little money.
Like hundreds of dollars?
Yeah, one time I was telling Irene, one time my wife and I literally had less than 400 NT. That was all the money we had left. And the rent was due in a couple of days. And my company hadn't paid me yet, so I was still waiting to get paid. And my wife was very nervous about what will we do. The rent is due in 2 days. You haven't been paid yet. You're not sure if the company will pay you. They should have paid you by now. And we only have like just under 400 NT. What are we going to do? And I said, let's order pizza. So we ordered a couple of pizza, and she's like, what are we doing? Why are we ordering pizza? I said, look, 400 NT is not going to pay the rent. And I'll probably be paid tomorrow. And we might as well enjoy ourselves today. So we bought the pizza and just worry about tomorrow when tomorrow happens. And the next day, my company paid me. We had a lot of money and everything was cool. I'm a pretty optimistic guy, so I generally like to think things will work out, and they usually do. Or there is some way to manage a situation. And even if things are getting a little bit hard, well, you can manage one way or another, I feel.
And how do you suggest that you can maintain positive thinking? Do you think it's a good way to find solution for you?
Yeah, obviously, especially when you're living in a new country and everything is new and very difficult. And the first 6 months were quite difficult, you know. Not so much culture clash. I didn't find that there were many big cultural issues. Honestly, Taipei is pretty Western in a lot of ways, you know. The biggest challenge was not being able to read anything. That's the thing that really makes you feel uncomfortable, because you just don't know what you are doing. You don't even know what the signs say to walk into a store, right?
Yes.
I went into one place I thought was a cafe, and it turned out to be a hair cutting place. And another place I was looking for some food, and I went to another place, and I can't remember what it was, but it wasn't food. And I thought, how does anybody find anything? I mean, because there's nothing on the outside. You know, a lot of businesses in Taiwan, they don't look like what they are on the inside, right? And then people say, but there's a big sign out there in Chinese saying it. Yeah, well, okay, that's helpful if you read Chinese, right? And then the other thing I found was many places in Taipei open very late. I mean, in the morning, they didn't open until 9 or 10 o'clock. And I was thinking, wow, is everyone on holiday or something? Where I was in Melbourne, it was very common for most places to open by 8:30. Some places by 8, definitely by 9. If you're not open by 9, I don't know, there's something wrong with you. So I found that was very surprising. And I had to adjust to things like that. And the most disorienting thing was not being able to read. It really, honestly to say, it really makes you feel stupid, right? Because you feel helpless. So in those times, definitely you need a positive attitude. And I found a positive attitude is very, very useful. I would say essential, especially if you're going to be moving to another country. Now, in terms of maintaining my positive attitude, well, I'm married and I have a very tolerant wife, I have to say, a very patient wife who puts up with me, who spent 10 years in New York. So she's a lot more practical than me and much more hard-headed and much more realistic in some ways, I should say, and very, very supportive, but helps to keep me grounded and be more realistic, which is good, and very much a strong source of my positive attitude. Also, we are both Christians, so we have a Christian faith, which also gives us a source of comfort, a source of hope, and a feeling that generally things are going to get managed okay sooner or later, okay? Mm-hmm. So these things contributed to my positive attitude. And so generally, yeah, in Taiwan, I've got a positive attitude. I would say definitely, if you're moving to another country, you definitely need some source, internal source of positive attitude. External source is useful as well, but internal source as well.
But we still sometimes get very depressed.
Occasionally, yeah. And I have had some times of quite serious depression in Taiwan. There were times when, for example, those times when, as I told you before, a couple of times when I left a job because the company was like, for example, when I was a technical writer, I moved because I knew the company that I was writing at that time was going down, and I knew the company was running out of money. And I jumped out of the company, I would say probably just before they fired a lot of people. Yeah, because the company was running out of money. And that was quite a nervous moment. Another time, of course, when I did quit my job as director of that technical writing company, and I was on $90,000 a month, right? Which was a solid wage. And yeah, on the one hand, it was very, very tough. And I was getting to the stage where I was really feeling I can't keep doing this 7 days a week and part-time job and the stress of working so many hours overtime. At that time, I was working around 65 hours a week, which was really, really tough. I was getting very little sleep. And I knew something had to change. But even to quit a job like that, and then to go without work for a certain amount of time, and to hope that this English company would be able to give me some extra hours, that was a risk. And I was quite on edge. And I hadn't been working for about a month. That meant we had we had much less income at this point. And I had to wait and see if the English teaching company would gradually give me more classes. And for those first few weeks, yes, that was very difficult. There was a lot of stress, hoping it would work out, trying to maintain my positive attitude, but kind of getting a little bit depressed every week when I still only had a small number of classes. And I was just waiting for them to give me more classes. And then suddenly, bang, 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 as I said, they started sending me everywhere, getting me more classes. And I thought, oh, thankfully, it's going to work out. It's going to be okay. So yeah, there have been some moments when you make a decision and you know it's very risky and it's going to take an emotional toll and make you feel nervous and maybe make you feel depression. And I had to remember that, probably something's going to work out, and also at the same time look around for other options. I was always looking for other options, looking for alternatives and looking for other jobs just in case. So I didn't always want to I'm not somebody who says, everything will work out, I don't have to worry. I actually did seriously look a whole bunch of other jobs and even sent out my resume to a bunch of other places just in case.
As the current situation is not going very well, do you have any suggestion for the audience who are nervous in this situation?
Yeah, I have to say I was very fortunate because both of my jobs, teaching and technical writing, are jobs that you can do online. And it's a little embarrassing to talk to other people who are not in such a fortunate situation. But what I can say is that from my friends who did suffer from the closure of their business or great reduction of their business, friends in the catering industry, in the gym industry and personal fitness, they adapted. They found ways to adapt. And again, of course, that was not easy at all either. And especially when you have a gym and you have personal trainers, you have staff to pay, you still have rent to pay. You still have to pay the rent even if nobody is there, right? It's just too bad. It's not easy to do. But at least I would say I would encourage people to do what they can and explore many different ways and try and be creative. Because one thing I do know is many companies have managed to do this. They, as I said, quite a few companies that I know, catering companies and the gym company, it was difficult at first, but through some determination, a little bit of networking, a little bit of creativity and imagination, they found a way to do it. So I would say try and be positive. Look at other people in your industry who are doing this. Find out what they are doing. Look online. See what other people in other countries are doing. And get creative. Don't just do exactly what other people are doing. Find out what you could think would work for you. Communicate with your customers. You probably have customers who already come to you more than once, right? Repeat customers. You have a customer base. They want to buy from you. So find a way to sell to them. I would say probably best talk to your customers. Find out the best way you can serve them. It's pretty amazing when you find you can do things that you never thought would be possible to do. So I would say be optimistic, be courageous, and find out where your limits really are.
I'm very appreciative for John's sharing of his career path and his positive thinking.
And actually, I would like to mention a bit more about his startup company, which is related to his hobby of sword fighting. John has designed a new kind of helmet to protect heads from being hurt during martial arts, which improve better than the previous ones in market. In 2018 Taipei Meet International Trade Expo, he incredibly won second prize, which was really a huge achievement. And moreover, he has now founded a martial arts club to promote the culture and wholesome instructions. This club is open and welcome to everyone. So, if you want to join or know more, please feel free to contact him. And thank you and goodbye.